And we are back in the studio and so excited, at least for a few days until we head to the Dominican Republic. We've been talking about it for many months. I'm finally getting to go to Casa de Campo in the DR, flying from Miami to La Romana Airport. Gilles Gagnon and his staff, they say they're going to pick me up. I hope they are right about that. No, I'm kidding. It's going to be great. I look forward to playing a lot of golf, enjoying the sunshine, great food, camaraderie, and the scenic views, they tell me, are absolutely spectacular. Check it out, casadecampo.com. All right. Gilles Gagnon, our guest again. Gilles, am I right saying all those things about the views and the food and the weather? I mean, at least from what you tell me, this is the time of year. I'm coming at the right time.
Well, I'm here right now, and it's beautiful, sunny. I had my grandson here, one of my grandsons, and played like 8 days in a row. And my wife took him back to Florida. You know, he's only 14, so didn't want to fly him out, out by himself from here. But he got there, and it rained for 2 days. So he said, Papa, I need to come back. I said, well, you're on your way to New York now, to your family, to your mother and dad, so a brother. So, but yeah, it's beautiful, and we will have a special parade when you land. Going to be a couple police motorcycle,
There
and
you go.
hopefully by the time you get here they don't arrest you and throw you in jail or anything. But no, I literally it's probably, I'd say, 2 miles from when you land. By the time you get through, it's 2 miles to the front desk, so it's very, very close. You just go straight down the hill towards the water, towards the Caribbean. So it is beautiful.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I really am. But before we get into what's going on at Casa, I guess you saw Brian Campbell win the John Deere Classic last week on the PGA Tour. A little known guy. I mean, hey Gilles, he got his card back in 2016. Think about that. Lost it after 1 year, and then went on the mini tour excursion for many years. Got his card back. And lo and behold, now he has won twice, Gilles, in Mexico and now the John Deere. That's one of the great things about golf. A guy who sticks to it regardless of what happens. His family supports him. And lo and behold, he's now a two-time winner on the PGA Tour. That's pretty good stuff.
It was pretty amazing, and like we talked about, man, he doesn't hit it very far. I think he was 276, and he was outdriven on 18 in the playoff by about 50 yards, and he hit that really little bullet there. And it's fun to watch. I mean, that once in a while you have guys that are not all driving at 325 that can come in, and obviously he's got a lot of guts. He's not intimidated, and a good putter.
Yes.
And, it's fun to see. I mean, it's fun to see somebody like this that can obviously manage his game amazingly around the golf course. But I think some of these courses now, the 71, 7,200 yards, that gives a chance to, especially if it's not the U.S. Open when the rough is 12-inch thick there, but that gives a chance of a player like this to win. Like a Zach Johnson, I think, played, right? He did.
Yeah.
A couple of the players that don't have necessarily an opportunity, but it was fun to watch. It was fun to watch. And Grillo, obviously, we actually almost signed him when he first got on tour, and we passed up whatever it was reason at the time. They didn't think it was the right move, and he ended up, I think, after we decided not to, he won two on the Corn Ferry, then he ended up on tour, wins a tournament, and so he's also a pretty good player, and I think he's from Argentina, right?
He is.
Yeah, Manuel Elancio, who was one of my assistants I'd hired from Argentina. They were a good friend. And Tosti also. Tosti there, that's also a player on PGA Tour. He came in and played in the World Latin American Amateur here. He was a little skinny guy, and he could really hit it also. And he's been doing on tour. He's been doing okay on tour also. So it's wonderful to see.
Yeah, Alejandro Tosti. Yeah, that was a good week for him, too, at the John Deere Classic. And I will say this, Gilles, I don't know if you're familiar with TPC Deere Run. D.A. Wybring, longtime player on the PGA Tour from Illinois. He's designed many courses, and that's the gem of all the courses he's designed. It's a beautiful golf course, Gilles. It's very underrated. Obviously, they play in the summer, so they have to water those greens. It's soft, so they score really low. But it's an incredible piece of property. I don't know if you've ever seen it or played it, but TPC Deer Run, one of my favorite courses. It really is terrific.
Well, I think, you could see the greens were struggling there.
Yes.
There was a lot of, because of the heat. But, people are sometimes are upset, oh, 25 under par. Well, these guys are amazing. And the
Yeah.
only way you can stop them is if you like the U.S. Open. And to be honest with you, watching the U.S. Open, watching a bunch of guys chip out, back in the fairway and hit another shot. That's not, and it's hard to, you're looking and they're not going to make a big run.
Right.
I have to say Augusta has got that figured out because I don't care. The last 5 or 6 holes, you're going to watch it and some terrific turnaround could happen. And there's always somebody eagle like this year when Rory hit this amazing 7-iron or whatever, whatever, over the trees, around the trees, on the green. So I think people enjoy watching people making birdie. I mean, I know the USGA have their reason to do it, and I'm not criticizing it, but I think if that was like you watch this every week, I think you'd stop watching golf because it's kind of boring. The
Well,
US
yeah.
is kind of boring this year, to be honest with you.
No, I agree. And again, I love it when they play a place like TPC Deer Run, which is very underrated. And it's in the time of the summer where maybe people are vacationing or whatever. Although they had their best field in many, many years, I just, again, I tell people, the TPC courses are nice. They're all good. But this one is particularly beautiful. And if you played it in the fall, Gilles, with the leaves changing colors and that,
gorgeous. Yeah,
it would be absolutely gorgeous. All right, I wanted to ask you this because the tour now across the pond, the Genesis Scottish Open at the Renaissance Club at North Berwick in Scotland, and then they go to Royal Portrush in Northern Ireland for the Open Championship. I want to get your thoughts. I know you've played all over the world, and of course you're now down in the DR at Casa de Campo as we speak. Well, what do you think about golf in Scotland and Ireland? I think it's pretty special.
Well, I've been there 3 times. I have a friend of mine actually that bought it's a penthouse basically right beyond the 18 green at St. Andrews from Mr.
Wow.
Kohler, from Herb Kohler.
Nice.
So he used to work in the pro shop for me when I was at Colgate University, and his dad was football coach, athletic director, and we went to the British Open the year that Smith won, at St. Andrews. But I was there a couple times. I played 10 or 15 golf courses there. It's pretty special. I think that the part of it is the history. When every place you walk, I don't care if it's Troon or Turnberry or, you walk to these places and, you see where some of the shots were hit and the history, obviously. You go to the clubhouse, you see some of the picture there of the Curtis Cup that's 20 years ago. 20 years, could be 50 years ago, whenever it started. And, driving to those little town. And, believe it or not, the 3 times I've been there, I think I wore a rain suit once. And one year, when it was at St. Andrews, it was like 80 some degrees. It was really hot. But yeah, you're going to get some bad days. But I think the experience, it's a different game. A lot of time you get some pretty good wind. You get a little rain, you go cold. You can go cold and you can go warm. And I remember we were playing one course and it was, really, we're right next to people were kind of walking on the beach there. I had 3 sweaters and 2 con, and I was freezing. And this little kid walked by, and his father, and I'm looking, and I said, what are they doing? He says, it's a fine day for swimming today. I said, well, it's about 40 degrees, We saw another guy, Turnberry, going out with a little Speedo, going in with his snorkeling equipment, walking by. And I think Marilyn and I, we still have a picture of the two of them. She's got sweater bundled up, and this guy's with Speedo and his snorkeling, going out there. And we said, nah, maybe not. But we saw him. He was out there. So, yeah, it's a great experience. It's changed a little bit in terms of, I've never been to Ireland. They tell me Ireland is pretty spectacular.
It is.
And Scotland, I think sometimes, you get a little spoiled, they kind of, it's gotten to be pretty expensive. But, if you're going to do one trip in your life, something special, I would go to Kohler, I would come to Casa, but I would also, I would go to Scotland, I think, and Ireland. And before it's too long, I hope my 2 grandsons that are really pretty good golfers. One just went back. The other one actually just qualified for the match play in Nebraska.
All right.
A freshman in the state match play. His mother just texted me, and I'd like to take them both there. Marilyn and I, and both of them, take them there for a week and stuff, and give them the experience. But hopefully, we need to do that quickly so I can walk these. It's a pretty good walk all the time. And we're so spoiled. Every place you go now, you ride a golf cart. And a lot of golf courses are not made to walk because they have such a a huge distance between the green and the next tee. Where in Scotland, and it's pretty much you walk up the tee, go in the green, the green and the tee is right there. So
Yes.
yeah, I think that's and I love to watch, the British Open. That's always surprising, So yeah, golf is a game that you can play anywhere with anybody, and it's the greatest game in the world. And you don't get any of your teeth knocked out like I did in hockey. So I love golf.
It is interesting, Gilles, as we go to the Open Championship in Northern Ireland, Royal Portrush. And 5 years ago, Rory misses the cut, shoots 79 in the opening round. It was crazy weather, but nevertheless, that was disappointing, even though he came back strong in the second round, missed the cut by one. Obviously a motivated golfer, and he's accomplished a lot, winning the Masters, the career Grand Slam. But as you know, being from Canada, whether it's something going on in Canada or an American at the U.S. Open or whatever, Rory wants to win the Open Championship in Ireland. That's a big deal for him. I mean, these guys, when you're from a country and the championship comes back to your country, my goodness, it puts pressure on you too.
Well, look what happened in Canada when the Canadian there, and I can't, names.
Nick Taylor. Nick Taylor.
When he won in Canada, I mean, the guy, is going to be a hero now for forever, and he won, and it was amazing, and people were going crazy. I mean, Canada is such a game that, golf is so popular there. Hockey obviously is very popular, but golf is amazing. And funny enough, if you're a left-hander, when you go to a golf store in Canada, you're going to find more left-handed equipment than you do right-handed equipment.
Which is crazy.
The reason for that is everybody plays hockey, and you always hold on to the top of the stick with your dominant hand, which is your right hand. So your left hand is below, and that's how you control the stick. Well, the deal is that when you play golf, you put your hand like you do on a stick, except you put them closer together. So you end up left-handed.
Right.
So there's a lot of left-handed, left-handed golfer there. But yeah, I hope Rory does well. He's been, when I watch him at the Master, I think we talked about that last time. I was so nervous when I thought there's no way if he misses that putt, it's all she wrote. I mean, and he kind of pulled it a little bit, and then he hasn't been playing well. And sometimes I can't understand why they have to change equipment or something. You just win the Masters, and then you got to get. I think it's a new driver or something that he was getting, and then he played like a dog at the PGA.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting how how things change like that. These guys are always searching, which we always, like me, I'll go to get another driver or something, or my wife will say, "How many more drivers do you need?" I say, well, you're looking for that club.
Yeah.
These guys, they're the top of their game. So, but I think it's going to be very exciting. Scottish Open is great. I've played the Renaissance many years ago, and the wind could be really, really tough there. So hopefully the weather's going to be Scottish and Irish style, but not to the point where you remember when I think Tiger Woods hit it to the right there? I don't know if it was at
yes.
field, and it was like, okay, I'm done. I can't play in this. They'll play in anything there. I can tell you that.
Yeah, that was bad weather that year. But it'll be fun. Right now the weather's good in Scotland. They're hoping it carries over to next week when they go to Ireland. But as you know, it can change. It can change instantaneously, especially over there. All right, laundry list Casa de Campo. For all our listeners, over the last few months, I've been talking about Casa, and some people from my home state, Alabama, Gilles, came back. They were there about a month ago. A father-son had a great time. And this was the list, and I've gone over it with you. Dinner on the terrace at the Italian restaurant at Alto Chavon.
La Piazzetta.
That sounds pretty good.
That's where I signed my first contract 44 years ago. And it's the Altos de Chavon, is an artisan village. We have an amphitheater there that we've had some of the best artists there. And it's fantastic. You just go out there, and the river is down below. You get there a little early so you kind of see the sunset there through the river. Die 4 is the back nine of Die 4 will sit to your left. And the food is great. So that's definitely a place you need to go while you're here.
I can't wait. And you mentioned Die 4. Now, Teeth of the Dog, still undergoing the renovation, the Jerry Pate, just kind of giving it a facelift. It'll reopen in December, but I'm told Die 4 is to die for. Gilles, a golf course that people absolutely love.
It is. It's a wonderful golf course. You're 300 feet above the Chavon River, and the one side we call the marina because when you get to the third tee, you look down and it's the mouth of the river going into the ocean, and you see our marina that's there. And then on the back nine, we call it the Chavon, because when you get the 10, you turn around, you can see Altos de Chavon. And then we have a third nine, which is called the Lagos, because there's some lakes, they're man-made lakes. So I was very, I had to really dig deep to come up with those three names. Die 4, the reason we call it Die 4 was, well, like you say, you yell 4, but this was the fourth golf course that Pete built here. So that's why we came up with the Die 4. It's, it's very hilly. You get side hill lie, uphill lie, you get all kinds of lies, and the greens are big and the wind blows. The fairways are really, really wide. You got to hit it really sideways to lose a golf ball there. But believe it or not, it used to be, 80% teeth of the dog, 20% Die 4, if you ask people. We're at about 55-45 now, believe it or not, where, for the older guys, it's a little more tiring. Like, I'm 76, I go out there, I can play 18. After 18, I'm tired. Not that I can't play again. I've played 27, but when you play the teeth, I can play teeth, all day long, because it's, it's flatter and it's much easier. But definitely, when you're here, you got to go play Die 4.
Can't wait. I'm so looking forward to it. All right, the list continues, and I think I'm pronouncing it right. Manitas Beach and the Manitas Beach Club. I know we're going there, right?
Yeah, that's a beach. It's right at the beach club. It's right at the beach, and it's mostly an adult area during the day. At night you can bring kids for the dinner, but during the day it's more of an adult. There's an adult pool there, and you're right on the water, and then obviously we have kids' pool that are on the other side, that are a little about maybe 50 yards away. And there's a couple bars out there, but yeah, it's really nice. At night, the ocean, you can hear the Caribbean, you can see it, just kind of gentle waves. You see the moon, depending where it is, but the sunset is great. The food's wonderful. There's a nice bar there. So yeah, that's definitely another spot that you need to hit while you're here, which we will.
What about tacos at Chilango? Tell me about that.
Yeah, that's at Altos de Chavon. That's right across from Piazzetta, actually. And wonderful little restaurant. A lot of times, guys will play golf in the morning and then they'll go there for lunch and then go back out or something. But yeah, it's a Mexican restaurant. It's a little different. I'm not a big gourmet guy, but yeah, it's fun to go there. And like I said, you play golf, you finish, you just walk probably about 100 yards and you just walk in that little restaurant. And again, the church there, they have the church that's right next to there. That's and the view is also very good. So it's a good place to go.
All right. This is Casa de Campo, folks. Gilles Gagnon has been on with us numerous times. I'm told the shooting range is kind of a fun place to hang out, Gilles.
It is nice. I've been there once. No, but I know about it. We have a great event here that is called the Sugar Shoot, which we have the Sugar Tournament, which is the golf tournament by the owners, and then one of the brother is wonderful in the shooting. So it's one of the best. It was designed by an Englishman, and it's one of the best, supposedly one of the best shooting, where you have trap, you have skeet, you have all kinds of activity up there. There's a little bar, and so they have dogs that they train when they go up to Peligro, which is a little further away from here, which is still the land, but they go up there bird hunting or whatever they do. But yeah, that's like I said, I'm not my kids from Nebraska all go hunting and everything, my grandkids, but that's not one of my favorite thing to do. But yes, it is ranked as one of the top in the world.
And then I saw on the schedule something about night golf. You got the glow-in-the-dark golf balls, something crazy like that?
Yeah, we on the driving range, when we had an event, we started like Jill and Friends many years ago, and then somebody did another one, Nevin and Friends, which unfortunately just passed away, a great friend of mine. And then Robert Bertel, who's the new director of golf that replaced me. So he had Bertel, and Friends. And so we do the dinner on the driving range, they do the welcome dinner, and then they come up with, they got targets out there, and the golf ball basically, when you hit them, they light up. So when you hit them, you can see them going, and it's, people go out there, have a lot of fun. We have clubs there, and people hit it all. They usually try to hit the picker, which we light them up a little bit. So yeah, it's a fun activity. It's a fun activity. When you're there, especially if you got kids, The kids love to go and see this thing, like my grandkids when they were younger, that was the thing. Wednesday night golf. So you go over there and
Sure.
and they have the food, but a lot of time, even if they do night golf, they'll have burgers right there on the range and the bar there. So it's a fun activity.
Well, Gilles, you're whetting my appetite. I was excited. Now I'm really excited. I mean, you're doing a good job. Tell me all about this great place.
Well, you go to the marina, you forget the marina. The marina, there's, two wonderful restaurants there. We have more restaurants, but two of them that are part of our package that we do, the all-inclusive package. But yeah, all the yachts are there. In the summer, not as much. In the winter, you get more of the northern people that taking the boats down, their yacht. It's not boats, they're yacht. And so it was built basically on a mangrove area, and it's right next to the river, right next to the mouth of the river. And you sit there, at the restaurant, the casita, for example, and you can see sometimes little fish, some of the fish going by, and it's pretty special. So that's another spot we're gonna have to do.
Yeah.
Even during the day, we have a bunch of shops there that the women, obviously ladies, love to go around and take a look and, drop a few of our pesos over there.
I tell you, it sounds wonderful. It really does. Again, that's Casa de Campo. And for our listeners and viewers, all you have to do is go to casadecampo.com and read all about it. And Gilles and Catherine and all the good folks there will roll out the red carpet and take care of you, Gilles. I'm so looking forward to it. In fact, I'm going to go out the next few days since I'm off for a few days and actually try to get the games, get it back in some semblance of order, Gilles. I've been working a lot. And the game, well, it's just rusty. I guess that's the best way to put it.
Well, you travel so much, you go to one tournament and, when we talked, I think my wife told me the other day, I think you spend more time don't you spend with me, because I've been on your show how many times now? I think it's 7 times.
Quite a few.
Together. But, I know it's difficult for you to play golf and things, but, we have a beautiful learning facility here. You can hit some balls. We could put you on the TrackMan, take a look, and you think you're driving at 250, but then the TrackMan tells you it's 210. That's usually what happens to me. But
yeah, I know.
We'll get your game in shape, and, daughter and wife will enjoy it. Actually, I'm never, well, I would say never, but rarely I'm here in July because I go see my grandkids, and travel a little bit. I decided to stay just because I wanted to be, with you to experience. So
Great.
When you go back to your podcast or anything, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And we've become good friends, and I'm really looking forward to having you here, playing a little golf and having dinner. And when you're tired of me, tell me, okay, just go away now. We're done for the day.
No, all good. Gilles, I'm honored. I really am. And we have become good friends. It'll be the coup de grace when I actually meet you and shake your hand in person.
Well, I look forward to it.
I'm looking forward to it. Well, we will see you in a few days, my friend. Take care and get the game in shape, Gilles. I'm coming.
Listen, every day. Now we're moving to 2:45 because it stays light later and it's kind of cooler. So every day, it used to be 1:30, now it's 2:45.
There you go.
Well, my boys are waiting for me right now, and they say, "You go." I said, "Yeah, I'll be there. I'll be there at 2:30. Hit a few balls, and we go." So you're gonna play with these guys, by the way. A couple of days we're gonna play with my 2 buddies there, a lefty and a righty.
All right.
And you don't have to play real good with these 2, I'll tell you that.
Hey, what time is sunset, by the way? What time does the sun fall there? Because you keep mentioning how beautiful it is.
6:45, I think, right now. Yeah, somewhere around there. I think it's, I guess if I would look, they probably would tell me exactly what time. But yeah, it's a good time. You could take your cart there and drive down to 17 and just stay. I mean, you can't drive in now because of all the stuff that we're doing, but you could sit right there and you could, at the point, you got Catalina Island, which is not California, it's our own. And then the sunset right there, and it's absolutely gorgeous.
Can't wait. Gilles, we appreciate it, my friend. We will, I'll be in touch leading up, email, text, whatever, even though when I text you, I'm not sure which phone you have. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of different. I go, sometimes I can't remember either, but that's okay. Yeah. Email is the best, and the flight's been wonderful. My wife took it back, on the 3rd and stuff, and it was a little delayed because it was delayed everywhere in the United States. But I think you land at about 3 something. You'll be in your room by 4:30 or something, and we'll make sure we have the schedule ready to go.
Good deal. Gilles, cheers, my friend. See you soon.
Cheers to you. All the best. Take care.